What's up, everybody? Welcome to Optimus Fantasy Football. I'm Nate Polvogt, joined by the one and only Mr. Lou Brunson for Week 15's edition of The Express. Week 1, wonderfully dry Colorado. Got to clear my throat there a little bit. Week 1 of the fantasy playoffs. Some of us had buys, some of us didn't. It's been an exciting week, though. My favorite thing, early Christmas, folks. The Kansas City Chiefs are officially eliminated from the NFL playoffs. Woohoo!
I mean, if you're a fan of a different AFC team, it really is Christmas come early, because it's like when the Patriots fell, right? It's just like, finally anybody else can do something.
Yeah, exactly. And we're stepping into a new era. And the thing that Kansas City should really be concerned about is that knee injury to Patrick Mahomes at the end of that game. He goes down with about 20 seconds left. We see Gardner Minshew come in. It did not look good, Lou.
No.
Any thoughts on what that injury might have been?
I mean, I'm guessing it's an L of some ACL, MCL, PCL, something, of that sort. I don't pretend to be a Twitter doc, even on Blue Sky, so I don't want to go too far down that path. But I mean, those are usually ACLs, that sort of thing. And as I posted on Blue Sky, 9 months from today, September 14th, that's approximately week 2 of the next 2026 regular season. That is rough.
That is very rough.
And I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes, so like, does he need training camp? Does he need this and that? Yes and no. Like, the timing matters, especially the way they run offense, that sort of thing. But man, what a bummer of a way to get eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, and I thought this earlier. I love Gardner Minshew. I want to see more Gardner Minshew, but not like this. Not this way.
Yeah, no. I wanted to see Gardner Minshew on, like, Cleveland with throw Carnell Lake on there and get Gardner Minshew to Cleveland and just watch. Let's just see what he can do with Carnell Lake and Harold Fannin and Quinshon Judkins. And let's do that.
Right?
Not this. Not this. No.
Not this. Well, guys, if you're watching, if you're listening to the audio version, or you're watching us later, whatever the case may be, make sure you go over to Blue Sky and follow @news.optimusfantasy.com.
Yes.
Run by the elite Carly Manger. It's up to date, to the minute, the fastest news source on Blue Sky, one of the fastest on social media. So make sure you go check that out @news.optimusfantasy.com on Blue Sky.
Puka just got rolled up on.
Yeah, I saw.
Oh.
Not great, Bob. Don't love it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Cortland Sutton just caught a 20-something yard bomb on 4th and 3. Woo!
Let's go.
All right, let's go. But we're not here to talk about that game yet. We will get to it. But this week, we're going to start with the Cleveland Browns and the Chicago Bears. This game went mostly as one would expect. The Chicago Bears, 31-3. They handled it. Wasn't hard for them.
No.
Pretty good game for the Bears all around. Caleb Williams looks good. He looks settled against a good Cleveland defense, which was good to see. He still
that was mildly surprising.
It was mildly surprising. It's a
like
new
development
for him.
I expected the passing game to struggle more than it did with how cold it was, and then you add the Cleveland defense on top of it. They've been really good against the pass, and I think settled was a perfect word for it. Like, he looked calm and in control of everything. And even on that one, yes, touchdown to DJ Moore there, he still looked like he knew what he was doing, even if nobody else did.
Yeah, which is good. You need that in a quarterback. DeAndre Swift, though, he definitely looked like he knew what he was doing. Look, he's a must start. Even with Monangai getting work, DeAndre Swift is still the alpha here. I want to start him every week. 18 carries, 98 yards, but he had the 2 tutties as well. This is a guy who's just playing really well in this offense.
Yeah, and he's good enough in the passing game that when they use him that way, he can get you good points there too. There's really no reason to not be starting DeAndre Swift every week. Like any other player, he's going to have some down weeks. He doesn't find his way into the end zone. Yeah, that sucks. But just the Bears are a good enough offense, and coaching matters with Ben Johnson and all that. It's going to happen more often than not.
Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you about Luther Burden. 6 catches for 84 yards today. Is he going to be a thing going forward, or is this just kind of fluky because we're up against Cleveland? This game was over pretty early on.
I think it's a little bit of both. Like Rome Odunze being that last second scratch, re-aggravating his stress fracture in his foot right before the game. That was fun, by the way, making all those lineup decisions 5 minutes before kickoff. So it's a little bit of both, but at the same time, he's got the talent to do it. Like we've kind of seen this percolating for a while now, just bubbling under the surface.
Yeah.
If Odunze is going to be out, especially, like if you're the Bears, you're fighting for the 1 seed and everything like this, just leave Odunze at home. Let Burden get some work in. Like work him into the offense. You're going to need him at some point in the playoffs. So I don't know that I can trust him as a wide receiver 2-3 type, but as a flex, I'm willing to probably throw him out there at this point, especially if Odunze is going to be out.
Well, yeah, and the thing is you can't ignore the volume. 7 targets, led the team, the 6 catches for 84 yards. He was a big part of this win. DJ Moore continues to be someone you want to start. 4 catches for 69 yards. Lou, he had 2 touchdowns today. This is a good Bears offense. This is a much more attractive offense in fantasy than it's been even earlier in the season. Kyle Monangai didn't have a great day. Are you concerned? I mean, 11 carries for 33 yards. He didn't even he saw 2 targets in the passing game, didn't manage a catch.
I mean, 13 touches for a running back. I mean, that's fine for someone that you're considering at flex position, that sort of thing. So, and we know that week to week, if one guy's hotter than the other, he's going to see the carries in that Bears offense.
Right.
13 touches isn't enough, or 13 opportunities, I guess is the better way to put it, isn't enough to keep me off of a guy like Monangai at this point. It sucks, especially if you rolled him out this week. But that's the way it goes. I mean, heck, look at what Jahmyr Gibbs has done this week, which is, you were probably counting on a lot more from him.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. Let's go to the Cleveland side here. It's bad. It's really bad. This offense is really bad. Shedeur Sanders, 18 of 35 for 177 yards and 3 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins was even concerning today, Lou. 12 carries for 21 yards for the rookie who's been so reliable. The only other thing to talk about on the Cleveland side, because obviously these are guys that now you're questioning starting rest of season. I think Judkins will be fine. This was just bad game script, bad situation. They were down early. So, right? Harold Fannin.
I mean, with Judkins, he's a really good running back on a really bad team, and we see this a lot. Unfortunately, we saw it. We saw it with Tony Pollard in Dallas. Even he was on really bad Dallas teams and couldn't really do anything.
Right.
Rico Dowdle, really bad Dallas team and kind of did okay, but nothing more than that. That's kind of what we're seeing with Quinshon Judkins now. So I mean, it makes it really tough to start him going forward unless you're looking at a positive game script sort of thing. And Cleveland doesn't really get those.
Yeah, and this isn't a never again. It's just a not for right now with Judkins for the most part. Harold Fannin, Lou, 14 targets today. Now, granted, 7 catches, 48 yards. You get an 11.8 fantasy point performance from him, which this week really not bad. Outside of Trey McBride's 31 points, which was just an absolute monster performance. We end up with Fannin finishing his tight end 8.5 PPR. Get a really good game out of him. He's someone to start moving forward, regardless of how bad this offense is, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we talked about earlier today, we're seeing the passing volume with Cleveland and Sanders. The problem is that he's about a 50% quarterback, which is not good. But if Fannin's going to see 14 of those targets, you can't not start him, even like he did today. Like, this is kind of his floor. That's 7. If he's going to be seeing 14 targets, catch half of them for about 40 to 50, 45, 50 yards. That's your baseline right there. That's a really nice high floor for a tight end.
Oh, it's a beautiful floor. And I don't see, even if Njoku does come back, at some point he's going to play. I don't care, because Fannin's still going to see a ton of volume. Period. Next 2
Yeah.
weeks, he's one of those guys where if you got him off the waiver wire in the last like 2 to 3 weeks, he's probably going to be a league winner for you if you were in contention to begin with.
He very well could be, especially considering, what there's not great options out there, really. Like, you might see a guy flash this week or that or the next, but there's nobody that's like consistently great. Even the names.
Yeah. Yep. I just want to pop this in here real quick. Philip Rivers is about to win his first game since COVID. Yeah, they've got a 1-point lead with 25 seconds left. Seattle's trying to get into field goal range. They might be able to do it here on a 3rd and 2. This is going to be about a 60-yard kick for Jason Myers. Do you think he can make it?
Yes. I mean, he can. Whether he's going to be on target doing it, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's move on to the next game on the slate here. We've got the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati
Patrick Mahomes did,
Bengals.
in fact, tear his ACL, according to news.optimusfantasy.com on Blue Sky. Thank you, Carly, for that.
Oh, boy. All right, well, we're looking at Gardner Minshew to start the season, folks, and Gardner Minshew for the rest of it this year. I think this is a good audition for Minshew, though. Maybe he can land with a team that isn't Kansas City.
I mean, I think the big thing is it really destroys like Rashee Rice throughout the fantasy playoffs. That's the big thing, is that he goes from being this top 5 guy to this. Am I okay starting him as my wide receiver 2, 3? Like, probably, right? Just because there's so many other guys that have, because like your Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, you can't start them, that sort of thing. So Rashee Rice probably still stays there, but man, that's a big hit.
Well, here's what I'll say. Minshew's one of those guys. He's like a Frank Reich, Jeff Hostetler, Gary Kubiak, where when they have to play 4 or 5 games, they're going to be pretty solid. It's when you get into like these 8, 9, 10 full season stretches of forcing these guys to start, teams start to figure out what you're scheming and what you're doing, and their skill set isn't enough like a Mahomes to get past that.
Sure.
That's why they're not a starter. But I think that he can do that for a couple weeks. Minshew might be fantasy relevant, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, I could see a world where over the next 2 weeks, he's maybe a top 12 quarterback in one of the two. Because why not?
I mean, because the Kansas City offense is terrible, even with Patrick Mahomes. Now, if you take Patrick Mahomes out of it, I'm not going to say that Minshew is going to suddenly, be like a maestro on the piano with it.
Sure.
That sort of thing. So, I mean, I am skeptical, mostly because, that interception that he had to close the game today, he's going to have a couple of those every week. And giving back 2, 4, 6 points like that, it adds up and it gets rough. And he's not, I don't think the Kansas City offense is good enough and wide open enough to be able to support QB1 performances like that.
Oh, I don't either. I just think it would be fun. That's all.
This
isn't a waiver wire show officially. Speaking of fun, Jason Myers did make that kick, Lou. So now Indy's got 11 seconds to get into field goal range. They need about 30 yards to get there. So
right on.
Good for Philip Rivers. I'm glad that he didn't die in his first NFL start.
Right?
Oh, he just threw a pick. So that game is over.
Well, there it is. I mean, it was bound to happen eventually, right?
Yeah. I can't believe he could actually throw the ball that far. I'm impressed. I don't think the receivers thought he could either. That's why he got intercepted. No. All right. Well, let's talk about this Ravens-Bengals game. Bengals are cooked. Playoff hopes are over. They couldn't even score on Baltimore today. It was a pretty pathetic performance in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow had a terrible game. Doesn't throw a touchdown pass, even.
I didn't see much of this game, to be honest with you. At least not from the Bengals perspective, which, any red zone watchers know that is usually indicative of the offense not doing much.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, we did get the PPR scan with Chase Brown to prop him up a bit there late, which thank goodness. Because that's great. But aside from some empty Jamar Chase calories there.
Yeah. Jamar Chase was the only good. Yeah, that really was it. 10 catches for 132 yards. I mean, he got you 23.2, but they don't score. Are you worried about this offense for these next 2 games in fantasy? where you're maybe worried about starting Burrow?
I mean, I don't know there's anybody I'm not worried about at this point, kind of thing is where I come down with it. Like, everybody's got questions. Like, there's not a single player out there that I'm like, yes, I feel really good about rolling this guy out every week. So no, I'm not worried about rolling Joe Burrow out, simply because, I mean, the Bengals brought him back to do this. Like, they knew what
Right.
I'm saying they knew what they were doing. They signed up for this, at least.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, right. So I mean, no, he's going to be out there. He's going to throw the ball a lot. He's probably going to have T. Higgins back next week, and this offense is going to do some really ridiculous and silly things. This week was just not one of them, and man,
yeah,
it's an unfortunate week to do it because it's the first week of the fantasy playoffs.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase at least got his. I mean, Jamar Chase managers have to be pleased they got 23 points out of him. Let's move on to the Baltimore side of this. They only throw the ball 12 times, the Ravens, today.
Yeah.
They didn't even really run the ball that much. 24 total rushing attempts. Yeah, this was a low volume game, but they still win at 24-0. The only offensive touchdowns were 2 touchdown passes from Lamar Jackson. We get 1 to Zay Flowers and 1 to, of course, none other than Rasheen Ali out of Marshall. Look, Lamar Jackson's not healthy.
No.
He can't move. He's not avoiding. He really just can't get out of pressure well.
Did you see the sack where like he tripped and he tripped over the Bengal lying on the ground?
Yep.
Oh my God. If we needed a better microcosm of what Lamar Jackson's season has become, it was that play right there. The Bengal lying on the ground, injured as all get out, like not even trying to do anything. And Lamar Jackson is trying to evade a different rusher and just trips over him and sacks himself.
I mean, you hate to see this. You hate to see this so much.
It's funny, and it's so tough to watch.
I don't like the Baltimore Ravens. I didn't like the way that Art Modell yanked them away from the city of Cleveland in the middle of the night. I don't like that they held on to Ray Lewis for as long as they did. I don't think Ray Lewis is someone who should have been in the NFL for personal reasons. So I just don't like Baltimore in general. I've always really liked Lamar Jackson.
Tucker years later.
Justin Tucker, Terrell Suggs. The list goes on.
Yeah.
But Trent Dilfer, he's fine. Just a bad quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a bad coach too. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he is. Look, in fantasy, Lamar gets 2 carries for 26 yards. That's not Lamar Jackson. That's not the Lamar Jackson we're used to seeing. He's making mistakes. He's throwing interceptions. I feel like this injury is just affecting him psychologically as well because he's not playing as well. So he's making more mistakes now because he's too far in his head. In fantasy, I'm terrified to start him on the teams that I have him in the playoffs. I'm probably going to do it anyway, but I don't like it because you could go, there's 20 points, 2 points. That's the range of outcomes for Lamar Jackson right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, the other options right now are just not good options. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that, like, Lamar Jackson, yes, he's not healthy, and you're probably still getting like 16 points out of him, and like that's kind of okay enough. Like you can live with that, but these other options, like you're looking at single digits, as possibilities, and you can't do that in the playoffs.
Well, and as it sits right now, Lamar Jackson is QB 11 on the week.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you can deal with that. It's QB 15 at worst. Like he's not going to win you your week the way he could before.
Well, because that's up to right now. We still don't have Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, Bo Nix, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold. None of those guys are clocked yet. None of the afternoon guys' final scores are clocked yet.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Yeah, no,
That's what I'm saying. And this is the problem. 15.6 fantasy points from Lamar Jackson. That's not going to get it done in the playoffs unless he's your QB2. If you've somehow figured out a way to make him your QB2, then okay, fine, and super flex. But I think if you're still in the playoffs after this week, and you have Lamar Jackson and you have another quarterback on your roster that you trust, which you should going into the playoffs, I would start them over Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, more if you can, and it's going to be so roster dependent, right? So don't do it blindly, But hopefully you have a decision that you can pivot to.
Yep. Hopefully, I think a lot of people saw this when he got hurt and he missed those 3 weeks, and he just hasn't been the same since he came back. And then they've got New England and Green Bay to round out the fantasy playoffs. Like, those are not ideal matchups for how he's playing right now. So, all right, let's move on to the Cardinals and the Texans. This was just kind of it was the game we expected it to be. Completely. I think so.
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by Brissett and Wilson for Arizona. I expected Houston to just put the clamps on and keep them on, and it looked like it was trending that way. And then garbage time happened, which was enough. Houston let up enough.
Well,
and Trey McBride things. Holy cow.
I know. Trey McBride, yeah, you saw the expletive in the show sheet, I'm sure. Yeah, insane day. Here's the thing. I'm not surprised because Jacoby Brissett, that's when he's scoring fantasy points. It's always in junk time because his team is constantly in junk time in the second half of pretty much every game they're in. And if they're not, they're in a shootout and they have to throw a bunch. Jacoby got 40 attempts again today. He was above 200 yards. He got to 249. He threw another 3 touchdowns. This is what he's going to do, and matchup doesn't matter. They're not going to win.
And while you're right, it's just that Houston has been so good defensively that I just thought it wasn't going to matter. They hadn't allowed a QB1. They hadn't allowed a QB1 performance all year. Obviously, we've still got enough QBs to come in that might still hold. But even still, I was pleasantly surprised seeing what Arizona was able to put up offensively this week. Like, none of the guys that you wanted to start from this game, Brissett, McBride, Wilson, none of them killed you, which is a good thing when it comes to Houston. That's a really good thing. Yeah,
Trey McBride, 12 catches for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns on 13 targets. Just an absolutely insane day. Michael Wilson, 5 catches for 54 yards. He also had a touchdown.
Good enough.
You know what you're getting out of this offense every week. It's nice. It's very consolidated. It's very basic. They can't run the ball. Bam Knight went out early. We got 14 carries for 56 yards out of Michael Carter. You know who you're starting out of this offense. All right, there's really no question. Let's move on to the other side of this one with Houston. Look, Stroud's to a point. I've been a known Stroud hater, kind of along the lines of T-Law, but he's kind of leveled out. And I think that he's a viable back-end QB1, high-end QB2 rest of this season in the fantasy playoffs. I'm okay starting him. I would actually start him over Lamar Jackson next week.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, we're starting Stroud over Lamar Jackson going forward, right? Like, that's just the way it is for the rest of the season. Yeah, and I think I'm right there. And I think that's kind of like that line of demarcation, too. It's like, if you're Stroud or better, I'm starting you over Lamar Jackson. If you're worse, I'm not.
Well, right now he's sitting at QB4, 23.4 points on the week. Houston has Vegas and then the Los Angeles Chargers coming up. So not defenses you're really scared of.
I mean, look at what the Chargers do to quarterbacks, though. Like, you don't...
Chargers fair. But you're still going to start Stroud.
Yeah. Over what Lamar Jackson is? Yeah, probably. And, like, index of suspicion here said, like, this is... Arizona's a bad defensive team, a really bad defensive team. Like, there were a few of these that were just, I'm going to throw the ball up to Nico Collins, and Nico Collins is going to make me right and make a big play and get me touchdowns, as opposed to me making a play to throw him open, which is fine. Like, that's the way it works sometimes. That's football. And it's just, we got to be aware of that as well when we're saying, universal start, that sort of thing. But again, we're calling Stroud a middle of the pack quarterback here.
Yeah. Oh, no, he is definitely middle of the pack. I'm starting him over Lamar Jackson, but, like, if you're in the fantasy playoffs, you probably have a better option. But if you don't, Stroud's sitting there, he's not bad to start. All right.
Right.
I would like someone better in 1 QB leagues, but he's serviceable. It's fine. Yeah. Dalton Schultz, though, I think he's relevant enough that you can start him rest of fantasy playoffs. 9 targets today, led the team. He had 8 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins was Nico Collins. He had 3 catches for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. Got in the end zone. Yep. You're starting these guys rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, Schultz is squarely in that kind of could be a tight end 1 mass, after your top options there, which is fine. There's going to be some weeks that he's not going to get it, and that's a bummer. But, he's also fine to just roll out there every week.
Yep. Yeah, I did index of suspicion. I've always liked Dalton Schultz. A lot of these guys, when we're talking about this, a lot of this is in context of where they're playing, what the situation is. Dalton Schultz is talented. He's just relevant for the rest of this season because they're actually using him in this offense, and it's freaking awesome to see. All right, this one will be quick. The Jets at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brady Cook, to his credit, kind of kept the team in this game, but definitely more than they should have been. 48-20, the final here. Brady Cook has 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. This Jets offense is basically in the realm of the Browns offense. Breece Hall is essentially unstartable at this point. He had, 12 carries for 23 yards today. Isaiah Davis and Brady Cook outrushed him today. Both of them. Yeah. Not combined, individually. Until Garrett Wilson comes back, I have almost no interest in anyone. A.D. Mitchell's too streaky. He had a good day today, though. He's too streaky. 6 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown.
And I think we can, depending on what your flex options are, I think A.D. Mitchell makes a decent enough dart throw that you can put him out there. Simply because, coming off the bench the way he did, Brady Cook was obviously terrible last week. This week, he looked like a bad NFL starter, but still an NFL starter, at least in the context of week 15 in the season when we've got multiple quarterbacks out with injuries and what have you. And that's good enough to get him the volume that he needs. Again, garbage time is going to come early and often for the Jets.
Right.
The odds that, A.D. Mitchell is kind of the only player in town sort of deal is when it comes to the wide receivers. That's enough to roll out there as, again, a flex low-end wide receiver 3 that if he has a day like today, you're honestly happy with. And he's outperforming Ladd McConkey.
Yeah. What about Isaiah Williams? He popped a little bit today. Do you have any interest in looking at him as a flyer if you need it?
No, simply because I don't feel okay trying to rely on more than one guy in this Jets offense. I know A.D. Mitchell is going to see something. Maybe Mechie is the other guy that sees something. Maybe Isaiah Williams is. Mason Taylor obviously was out this week. Maybe he's the guy next week. I don't know who that other guy is.
And we're not going to know. I don't think they know. Nobody knows.
No, and that's the thing. I think they're seeing what they have at this point, and because they dealt for A.D. Mitchell, he was obviously a relatively high draft pick. It makes sense to feed him the ball. See, is this a guy that we can count on going forward as a part of our offense?
Yeah, and that's the point of the season we've reached with these teams that are out of the playoffs. All right, let's move on to the Jacksonville side. This is way more exciting. Trevor Lawrence having a career freaking day, man. 6 touchdowns, 5 in the air, 1 on the ground, 5 carries for 51 yards, 20 of 32 in the air, 330 yards. Travis Etienne had a big day too, Lou. 12 carries for 32 yards on the ground. Then he had 3 catches for 73 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
massive day. Absolutely massive. I don't think you can take too much from this game because it was against the Jets. It's just that now they can beat the teams they're supposed to beat.
Yeah, and it didn't matter because they went up so big so early, but Jacoby Myers came out like a man possessed early. He really looks like the straw that stirs that wide receiver drink for the Jacksonville offense, which, great. For whatever reason, Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't working throughout the year. Jacoby Myers comes in and has really made it click. And yes, today was against a bad opponent, but they did what you're supposed to do to a bad opponent and a bad opponent. You beat them down, you step on their neck, and you don't let them in the game. And that's exactly what they did all day from the word go. Yep. Great. Good for them.
And I don't think Trevor Lawrence is ever going to be confused for an elite quarterback, but he's a pretty damn good one when he needs to be. Like, I think he's top 12 rest of the season. In these 2 weeks coming up, I mean, they've got Denver and then they've got Indy. Both of these games are on the road for Jacksonville. But I think these are games where he'll play well enough. I don't think they win, at least not against Denver. But I think these are games where he'll play well enough where you'll be glad you started him.
He looks like a quarterback that believes in himself right now, and he didn't earlier in the season. And that's not nothing. So, like, when you've got a guy who has physical talent the way Trevor Lawrence does, believing in himself, he can put up games like today against really bad opponents. I'm really worried about him in that Denver matchup because if there's one that's going to screw with his head, it's going to be that one. And I kind of want to see it. I'm not going to lie, just because when he falls apart, it's fun to watch. But yeah, no, I'd say if you rolled him and ATN out today, good for you, and good luck setting your Week 16 lineup.
Yep. All right, we're going to move to the next matchup. One of the most boring games on the slate, which I didn't expect, but this Chargers-Chiefs game was just a slog fest. Didn't enjoy really watching it whatsoever. They are. And you could see it. And obviously they're a lot more beat up now post-game. Justin Herbert, unexciting, 19-29, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Mahomes, 16-28 for 189. He just has the interception. The running game for the Chargers is what we thought it was, Lou. It's a complete and total, absolute 100% committee. 15 carries for Hampton, 12 carries for Vidal. Hampton had 61 yards. But are we now looking at this committee like, oh no, they've both become back-end RB2 flexes because of the split?
I mean, you kind of have to. And I have not done like a full analysis of who's left at this point. Because like there's not many great reliable running backs left to put ahead of them. You've got like 5 guys that are like, okay, yes, I feel good about them. Another like 4 or 5 that are like, yeah, I feel pretty good. Like your Kyron Williams, where it's like got to the end zone twice this week. Great. And aside from that, I don't know if he's going to be good enough on a given week. And then there's this whole mess of just, and they're in the middle of it. Yeah. But are they towards the top of it? Are they in the middle? I don't know. I really don't know right now. I'd have to kind of dive in. RB18 at this point in the season is not RB18 week 3. Let me put it that way.
Oh, 100%. You were 100% right. I mean, I'm starting Hampton because what else am I going to do?
Right.
You don't have to start Kamani Vidal because you probably didn't put yourself in a position where he's someone you are relying heavily on. I'd be timid about starting him, but I'm starting Amari and Hampton. These wide receivers, I mean, Ladd McConkey, 2 for 20 today. He only had 3 targets. Keenan Allen's still seeing the most volume. He had 7 targets. He had 5 catches for 36 yards. And, of course, Keandre Lambert-Smith gets the touchdown in this game from Justin Herbert, like we all predicted.
Just like we all thought. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, we all just kind of figured. On the Kansas City side, I mean, Mahomes gets injured. Travis Kelce, 7 catches for 70 yards. Rashee Rice, 7 for 51. They still can't run the ball. Their leading rusher was Isaiah Pacheco with 21 yards.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. Yeah. They're a bad offense is really what it is. You know, they've got some, fading superstars that, obviously in Kelce. Rashee Rice continues to take the hardest hits of any wide receiver in the NFL this year. He got absolutely destroyed again.
Drilled.
Again, the second week in a row. Like, how is this dude getting up and not getting checked for concussions? That's the other part of it, right? Like, who are these independent specialists?
Right.
But like the biggest thing that I take away towards the end of that game, because they were going to it a lot. Like, Mahomes looks old around the eyes. Like, he looks like a guy. This was before he got hurt. He looked like a guy that was just done. He's not having fun. And I get it. This is a much tougher year than he's used to.
Yep.
So,
The
obviously,
magic is gone.
Right. And it's, it sucks that he tore his ACL, and so now we have to start talking about what does this mean for him next year. But this is how it goes. Sometimes it's unfortunately nobody's infallible.
Nope. No, and without Mahomes, most of the time I'm gonna be like, okay, well, just pivot to their running backs. You're safe starting Pacheco and Hunt, but they're terrible too. I don't know that they're going to win another game rest of the season. Quite honestly,
I mean, their offensive line is bad. Their offense doesn't really make sense and work together. They're less than the sum of their parts somehow, which is just that's a weird thing to say about Kansas City.
It is, and the fall was so fast. They were in a Super Bowl last year, albeit they didn't win it. You don't see franchises fall this hard, this fast. Usually, it makes you wonder what really was it last. Were they just they were operating on fumes to get to the Super Bowl last season? They barely had anything left
based on how they played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's move on to a much more fun game. The Buffalo Bills defeating the New England Patriots today. Look, I give Drake Maye a lot of love on this channel, on social media, but I want it to be very clear. I do not like the New England Patriots. I'm a Bronco fan. We're not allowed. It's just against our nature, and it has been for a very, very long time. So I was really happy to see this game end this way. Drake Maye will start on that side. He's elite, man. He goes 14 of 23 for 155 yards. He doesn't throw a touchdown, has one pick. But Nate, how can you call him elite? Because he got it done on the ground. 4 carries for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. He just finds ways to get it done. It's not always pretty, and Buffalo played pretty good defense in this game. I was impressed at times towards the end. Yeah, all right, fine. I'm trying to be nice, Lou.
They don't deserve it.
All right, fair enough. The real star of this game, though, man. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, in the second half, they got better. I will absolutely give you that. And as our resident Bills fan, oh, God, no. That defense deserves absolutely no love, no flowers, nothing. Continue.
All right.
Talk about TREVEYON Henderson.
TREVEYON Henderson. He is a real star of this game on the New England side. 14 carries for 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 2 catches for 13 yards, but yeah, who cares about that? It's just another 3.3 points on top of an already stellar day. Lou, I'm so proud we're watching him grow up right in front of us.
I mean, is it growing up? Is it just, again, I go back to the Bills defense. Without ranting too much, week in and week out, I see the worst gap discipline I've ever seen in my Bills rooting life, adult Bills rooting life. The Sean McDermott years, let me put it that way. The worst gap discipline I've ever seen. That long Henderson run at the end where he cut it back all the way across the other field. Like that, the backside defensive end, AJ Epinesa, what are you doing, bro? Why are you not where you're supposed to be? Because that is exactly why you need to be there. Anyhow, I'm not. That's as much as I'm going to rant about that. But there was a lot of that we saw today. That was the Buffalo Bills defense. Yes, by all means, get excited about TREVEYON Henderson and understand Sean Tucker did this to them too. And what's he doing now?
Right, that's fair. But TREVEYON Henderson, for what it's worth in this game, junk time, running back time was Ramondre Stevenson's. He had 6 carries for 50 yards.
Sure.
Henderson's the clear RB1 now. So whatever that turns into down the line, I think you're safe starting him. This receiving core, though, Mac Hollins was their leading receiver. He had 8 targets, 4 catches for 41 yards. Stephon Diggs, revenge game. That didn't come to fruition. Joe Zolo, I'm talking to you. He talked me into it yesterday morning. It's fine, though. But yeah, I'm uninterested in the receiving core in New England in fantasy. There's 2 weeks left. You don't need to be toying with these guys. There's no reason to. You haven't been relying on them earlier in the season, so they just need to stay away.
Right. Like you can, again, Diggs kind of fits into that wide receiver 3 range. Like he's kind of the most likely you can bet on. Understanding that you're going to get games like today where he doesn't really do anything. It doesn't matter. So,
Yeah. On the Bills side of this, Josh Allen had a pretty slow day to start. He finishes 19 to 28 for 193 yards, 3 touchdowns. James Cook, 22 carries for 107 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He adds a receiving touchdown. These receivers are uninteresting to me, but Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, they were a near match today, Lou. They both had 3 catches on 4 targets. Knox with 37 yards, Kincaid with 34, but Knox gets the 2 touchdowns. Do we have to pay attention to Dawson Knox the rest of the way?
Well, something that I didn't realize until like literally right before game time. Dawson Knox is a brand new dad this week. Like he missed, first kid, everything like that. Missed a practice, personal, and it just came out like literally right before the game that is, got to welcome his first child. We see time and time again, brand new dads in the NFL, they show out their first game, that daddy bump. And I think that's what we saw this week. To be perfectly honest with you, I think if you are desperate at tight end, you can roll out Dawson Knox. I don't encourage it necessarily because I think you can probably get a guy like Colby Parkinson off the waiver wire, and I would prefer to start a guy like that over Dawson Knox. And if he's not an option, Knox is okay enough, and it's not like anybody else on Buffalo's offense in the passing game is doing anything. So, yeah, kind of.
It's 2 straight games where he's been fantasy relevant. Last week he had 6 catches for 93 yards.
Against Cincinnati.
Against Cincinnati, of course. Yeah. I don't know, man. It just feels like it feels like an opportunity where you could possibly flex him. I'm not saying start him as a top tier tight end, but more of like, okay, I've got 4 flex slots in this league. Because believe me, there are people out there who have those. You and I have them too. And it's like, it's either Dawson Knox or I'm praying that Cole Kmet somehow gets a target in this game. I'm rolling out Dawson Knox.
Dawson Knox or Pop Douglas, that sort of thing, where it's like,
yep, exactly.
Nope, yeah, I get it. And in those sorts of things, it's a little different. He's seeing enough where he's not going to get you a 0, which we couldn't say a month ago. So
no, we couldn't. All right, we're going to move on to the Commanders and the Giants. Not a ton to take from this game either. Jackson Dart had a good day. What I put in the show notes was it's good, not great, and it's not what he's going to be next season when he has Malik Neighbors. Right now, this offense is not that great. They're good enough where, I mean, I could have started Jackson Dart this week in a couple playoff matchups and been fine. I chose to not start him, but it would have been okay. He's not a league winner necessarily. He's a stopgap, solid quarterback in a pinch right now. 20 of 36, 246 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, and he had 9 carries for 63 yards on the ground. He's going to continue to do and a concussion check, of course. Well, that's just a given every week. I feel like they just need to, like, at the end of every quarter, send him to the blue medical tent, run a quick concussion check, send him back out with the way he plays.
Yeah, apparently. So, I think what I learned this week is that it wasn't a Daboll problem, when it comes to Dart and the Giants, at least insofar as this.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a Jackson Dart problem. Tyrone Tracy wasn't a problem today, Lou. 15 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Devin Singletary, however, was a problem. 5 carries for 13 yards, and he had 1 catch for 1 yard. So apparently this offense is trending back to Tyrone Tracy, which is fine. I don't have a personal preference whatsoever. Just told a lot of people, including myself, to start Devin Singletary today. So, but yeah, apparently it's Tyrone Tracy.
I mean, for this week, right? Because like you said, this is a bad offense, and this bad offenses, they flip-flop back and forth all the time. So it's we could see it be Devin Singletary next week, and that's just the way it is because, again, bad offense.
Very bad. Wan'Dale Robinson, though, 5 for 54 and a touchdown. I think he's flexible the next 2 weeks. There's just enough volume there. He had 10 targets. Darius Slayton too, 10 targets. He had 4 catches for 53 yards. Didn't get a touchdown. Should have had a touchdown. How do you feel about Slayton rest away?
I kind of put him in that Isaiah Williams tier with the Jets, in that this is a bad offense. We know it's a bad offense. We don't want to rely on more than one guy in a bad offense, especially bad passing offense. So, like, yeah, I'm kind of fine rolling out Wandale, as an option, but I'm not putting anybody else out there. I'm not putting Slayton out there. I'm not putting one of the running backs out there unless I have to, which I might have to.
What about Theo Johnson?
Again, he's in that next up tight end tier, right? Like, and the other thing is Washington's a really bad defense. Really bad defense. We've seen that the last couple of weeks. They just got taken to the woodshed by Minnesota last week, who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Wow, love the way those work together for me. But yeah, so it's like, let's try not to read too much into this either. Like, Tracy's probably going to be back to 11 for 32 next week, and Theo Johnson's probably going to be back to 2 catches for 25 yards next week, because that's the world this offense normally lives in their non-Washington weeks.
All right, let's move over to the Washington side. Marcus Mariota's Marcus Mariota. If you have to start him, you have to start him. You're going to try not to. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a lot of people have him rostered. A lot of people have not been starting him. Chris Rodriguez misses today. Is there anything to this? 18 carries, 96 yards. He gets a touchdown, does not see a target in the passing game. Is there anything to this JCM little like mini breakout game, or is Rodriguez just going to slot right back in when he comes back?
And I think that's it. It's what we saw today is what we saw earlier in the year, and that when they lean on him exclusively, he's going to show out. Again, the Giants are also a really bad defense. That helps. Or at least a really bad defense in that particular way. Their defensive line is really good and everyone else is terrible. So yeah, I get it. And at the same time, like you said, when Chris Rodriguez comes back, it's either going to be a really gross split again, which helps nobody, or it's going to be the Chris Rodriguez show, which only helps Chris Rodriguez. So yeah, I don't think JCM's going to be a thing the rest of the season. Great for this week. If you lucked into being able to start him, awesome. I hope he served you well.
Yeah. What about Scary Terry? You trust him?
Love it. I do. He just barely paid off this week. But at the same time, barely paying off is still paying off. So I will take those. And it's, I don't really trust anyone else in this offense, is what it comes down to.
No, Ben Sinnott had the 1 catch for 36 yards. We'll look for him next year. It'll be a thing. They'll work him in over the offseason, get him in. I'm really looking forward to that. I think we don't see tight ends generally take off until their 3rd season anyway. Next year will be year 3 for Sinnott. So, but yeah, you're right. I even have a hard time with Terry McLaurin, honestly. Like 3 for 69 and a touchdown's great, but I just don't know with the matchups coming up who they've got. Let's look here. Philly, Dallas, Philly. Okay, never mind. Take that back. Great. I actually really like week 17 against Dallas, so I can trust it. I think I can trust this. I can roll with this. Let's move on to the Las Vegas Raiders, the Philadelphia Eagles. This one was over before it started. I think everyone with half a brain knew that. Final score is 31-0. The Raiders are atrocious. Kenny Pickett, 64 yards and an interception. Ashton Jonty, he's in that territory of Quinshon Judkins, where he's in a really bad offense, and no matter the talent, he can't produce. 9 carries for 35 yards. Brock Bowers, 6 catches for 28 yards. Even he wasn't great. You got 8.8 fantasy points out of him in PPR formats. Not great for a guy that you're drafting as your tight end 1. I have reservations about starting every single player in this offense now, including Brock Bowers.
2.5 yards passing per passing attempt.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. Like, you would bench a running back who only got 2.5 yards per carry. You're getting that per throw. The Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, buddy. Yeah.
Can we please get Aiden
Congratulations.
O'Connell? Please.
Right? Like, why not?
Why
I
not?
understand he died, and that's fine. But this is not it. Like, you have Brock Bowers. How are you doing this to Brock Bowers? Yeah, it's
Mark
really
Davis is an a-hole. That's what it is.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I mean, but it's not just that either. It's Pete Carroll, and it's everything about the whole situation. None of this is good enough. Like there was supposed to be something, like maybe a small step forward, but a step of some kind this year. That was the whole thesis behind Carroll, and it's now it's just the kind of step that you wipe your foot off before you come inside. Make sure all that gets off.
I mean, you're right though. All right, the Philly side of this, really not bad team, good offense. Jalen Hurts goes 12 of 15 for 175 yards and 3 touchdowns before they bring in Tanner McKee. Saquon Barkley, 22 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown before they shut him down in favor of Tank Bigsby. Dallas Goedert, 6 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown has 2 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown. And then we had players like Darius Cooper getting targets once this game was out of hand. So
right,
Philly's Philly. I still don't know if this offense is good or viable going into next week in fantasy. We'll find out next week. No, we'll find out next week against... Nope, we won't know next week either because they're playing the Commanders. So fire up your Philadelphia Eagles next week, friends.
I mean, hey, you get to use these early round draft picks in the fantasy playoffs. That was the goal the whole time, right? And you get to. It just so happens to be because they're really, really good matchups.
Yes.
But at least you get to.
Yeah. Look, dude, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, all right?
Exactly.
I don't know where did that phrase come from? What a weird thing to say to people. What the hell is a gift horse even?
That is a horse that you are gifted because, believe it or not, I have actually looked into this saying before because I thought it was weird.
Okay. Well, I like that. We'll talk about it after the show. I think you just told me all I needed to know about it, so never mind. All right, well, we're going to move on to the afternoon slate games. Let's start with Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. This was a hell of a game, Lou. Quite a shootout here. Ultimately, the Rams win 41-34 on the back of Matthew Stafford, 24-38 for 368 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams, 15 carries for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Blake Corum, 11 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. Of course, Puka Nacua goes absolutely nuclear. He has 9 catches for 181 yards. And Colby Parkinson, 2 touchdowns, 75 yards on 5 catches. This offense is insane, Lou. It's just insane. The sheer power of what Sean McVay has put together this season with this team. Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, they're both completely viable fantasy starts at this point. Puka Nacua, best receiver in the league. I mean, it's between him and Amon-Ra, who we're going to talk about here in a second.
I mean, are we talking about like fantasy wise, or because I mean, you kind of have to put like if we're talking real life and production, that sort of that sort of thing. It's like you have to put Jefferson there, you have to put Chase there, that sort of JSN.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I mean, at the same time, if you're saying this guy's my top of any one of those, I'm not arguing with you. Yeah, okay, sure. I mean, this guy's mine, but yeah, that's a valid answer.
I think if we're talking pure physical skill, that's more where I'm at because this guy makes catches and does things you don't see any other receivers do. So these other guys all have freakish skill, but like the yards after the catch stuff he does, some of the catches he makes, and you just look at it and you're like, humans aren't supposed to bend that way or do that. Yeah. And that's what Puka is.
I'm still fascinated by the people that try to like shoulder tackle him and not wrap him up. Like what have you do you not know what you're doing? I understand that, you've been playing football probably all your life and everything like that. And I'm sitting here on my couch talking about it.
Right.
And like, this is Puka Nacua. You can't just like throw your shoulder at him and expect him to go down. That's not what he does.
Nope. No, it's never going to work. This offense is what we thought it was. The guys you're starting here. There's no question. Going over to the Detroit side, I mean, Jared Goff looked good too. 25 of 41, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, not so good, 13 for 38. David Montgomery does get the rushing touchdown. Still didn't make him super fantasy relevant this week. But these wide receivers, Lou, I started them. I have them both in one of my leagues, and I started them both. Amon-Ra, 13 catches for 164 yards, 2 touchdowns on 18 targets. Jameson Williams, 7 catches, 134 yards and a touchdown on 9 targets. Jahmyr Gibbs did have 7 targets. He had 4 catches for 20 yards, so a little bit of PPR saving if you're in a PPR league. Not a whole lot of it, maybe really. A slight bump.
Yeah.
Again, this offense is exactly what we thought it was. Your Jameson Williams, though, without Sam Laporta, I mean, he's like the top 15 wide receiver at this point in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we were hoping for. And I mean, the issue or the problem with Detroit on any given week is that it could be a running backs week this week, or it could be a wide receivers week this week. This week it was a wide receivers week. Showed out. Awesome. Yep. Good times. Next week could be a running backs week. Honestly, the way that it's gone for the Detroit Lions the last 6 weeks or so, probably is going to be a running backs week next week.
Probably.
Because everyone that was relying on Jahmyr Gibbs this week has been eliminated now. So let's have fun in those consolation brackets.
Yeah,
I mean, being burned by Jahmyr Gibbs in 2 different leagues this week.
Yeah, I actually didn't get burned by him, so I'm pretty pleased. Nice. I'm going to be honest, I have not gone through and checked most of my matchups just because I don't want to be too mad. I've looked at the bye week leagues to see how everybody else is doing. All right, we're going to move on to the Carolina Panthers with the New Orleans Saints, Lou. Again, this is another game where Tyler Shuck was the leading rusher for New Orleans. He had 8 carries for 32 yards. Devin Neal had 7 for 28 and a touchdown before he went out of the game. Shuck threw for 272 yards. I went 24-32, had a touchdown. That touchdown went to Chris Olave. 6 catches for Olave for 85 yards. 5 catches for Devon Vele for 69 yards. We saw Audric Estime get a little bit involved after the Devin Neal injury. He's not someone who's a factor to me. I basically looked at this game and realized that I just didn't care, even a little bit about this. There's no real fantasy relevance here. If you're still rolling out Tyler Shuck, I mean...
Tyler Shuck or Lamar Jackson?
Tyler Shuck.
Right. And see, that's the thing, right? We do kind of care.
Okay, so I do kind of care, Lou. Fine. I care about Tyler Shuck. I care about Tet McMillan. Rico Dowdle, 16 carries for 49 yards. He had a touchdown, so he became fantasy relevant.
Got saved, yeah.
Yeah, kind of saved your day with him. Tet McMillan, only 2 catches for 25 yards, didn't score. Jalen Coker, 4 for 60 and a touchdown on 4 targets. Tommy Tremble, all of a sudden, walks into 4 targets today for whatever reason, has 2 catches for 13 yards. This was just not there was nothing that exciting about this game. Bryce Young looked good at points. He's definitely improving. Right. He was 15-24 for 163 and a touchdown. That's not terrible.
Yeah. I actually watched a good portion of this game today just because I was interested and it was close.
Sure.
It was a weird game in that Carolina just didn't do anything to pull away. And if they had, New Orleans wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. But because they just didn't, that allowed New Orleans to just kind of do whatever it was that they were doing and then win it at the end. So I don't know if it's coaching or what have you. I don't really take a whole lot out of this for Carolina because it almost felt like they weren't trying hard enough, which is a weird thing to say about a professional NFL team leading their division in mid-December, but it's true.
It is true. You're not wrong. From a fantasy perspective with these teams, I just if you have Bryce Young, you're probably starting him because you drafted him to start him. That's only in 2 QB leagues. Otherwise, Tet McMillan, you still have to start him. I mean, the volume's normally there. It's strange. He's had 2 kind of weak volume games. I don't think that continues though. This is a team that still has a chance at making it into the playoffs, albeit losing to the New Orleans Saints doesn't really give you a lot of faith in them once they do make it to said playoffs.
No.
So, all right, we're going to move on to the Seahawks and the Colts. Phillip Rivers making his first start in 5 seasons, seemingly just to get those insurance benefits back. I get it, man. When you got 20 people deep at home, you got to do what you got to do. But I'm going to say it, man. Like, it wasn't pretty. It was clunky. It was weird. You were surprised he didn't get killed a couple of times. But he went 18 for 27 for 120 yards and a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, 25 carries for 87 yards. About what we thought we were going to get from this offense. They almost won it, which is something.
It's something. But at the same time, 120 yards passing in a full game, that's not good. Granted, It was almost double what Kenny Pickett did. So, I mean, there is that. But yeah, I mean, this was a bad offensive output kind of day. Like, Josh Downs got into the end zone, so yay. And aside from him, Jonathan Taylor was the only guy that broke 10 points.
And it wasn't great. I mean, 25 carries for 87 yards, and he had 3 catches for 14.
No, so I mean, 13 points in a full PPR league. So, okay, that's not Jonathan Taylor that you were counting on throughout the whole regular season.
And you're not benching him, but what you are doing is you're going to have to chase points other places these next 2 weeks if you make it through after this week. All right, no more of the Colts. Let's talk about the Seattle side of this here. Sam Darnold with kind of an oddly pedestrian day, 22 of 36 for 271 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, only sacked the one time. This backfield, again, continues to be a committee as well. We had 9 carries for Ken Walker, 8 for Zach Charbonnet, 31 yards for Sharbs, 17 for Ken Walker. The only thing to really talk about here, why even bother? JSN with 7 catches for 113 yards. He continues to be elite. That's all you need to know. With Seattle, you don't want to start Sam Darnold if you don't have to. You don't want to start Ken Walker or Zach Charbonnet if you don't have to, because you're praying for a touchdown from one of those guys. You don't get one like this week, and they're dead assets. JSN. That's it.
I'm a little interested in Rashid Shaheed simply because we've seen him take small steps, and 5 for 74 will play. Like, that's it. I don't expect Seattle to be behind the way they were today. It was just a very weird week in game for them.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of like, okay, stop playing with your food. Okay, just like, can we just finish this out? Was really the feel the whole time. But at the same time, 7 targets for Rashid Shaheed when JSN has 9. That's a really good really good enough volume, and Shaheed matches up with Darnold's strengths and everything like that well enough that it's like, yeah, okay, I can deal with this. He's not someone that you want to prioritize, like wedging into starting lineups or anything like that. But at the same time, if he's been hanging out on your bench for a few weeks and you're kind of looking at your starting lineup going, what do I do with this? He's fine.
Yep. All right, we're going to move on to the 49ers and Titans. The Titans stayed in this game somehow, but it was ish. Stayed in this game. Cam Ward, 18 and 29, 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, over 100 yards, had 104 and a touchdown. Gunnar Helm snags a touchdown before he gets hurt, and then some dude named Jeffrey Simmons on their defensive line gets a touchdown as well. Nothing exciting on the Titans side. If you're in the fantasy playoffs, you should not be relying on a single player on this team. Period.
I mean, do we need to talk about Tony Pollard? Like, he lit up Cleveland last week, and now he puts up, 15 plus points against San Francisco. I mean, I'm not saying that I want to rely on Titans. I'm not saying that. And this is 2 weeks in a row. I think we got to pay attention.
Maybe. 25 for 161 last week. They've got Kansas City and New Orleans. He probably is someone you want to pay attention to, honestly. I usually have a no Tony Pollard policy on this channel, but I'll allow it this time. I mean, I think with these matchups coming up, he's a viable start. Tennessee understands if they give him volume, it works. They tried to shift some of that volume to Spears today. It didn't work super well. They didn't do a good job of it. So,
and we're shifting so many running backs out of the pool that it's like, okay, we can't start this guy. Neal's hurt now. We can't start this guy. We don't want to start the Giants running backs. I mean,
you gotta have somebody to start.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of where Pollard fits for me, is that like, okay, welcome to RB2 land, I guess.
Yeah. 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 I'll allow it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to let's move on to the 49ers side of this. I mean, again, Brock Purdy, he's looking so much better, man. 23 of 30. He's got 295 yards, 3 touchdowns today. Christian McCaffrey, 22 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. He sees an additional catch for 14. Ricky Pearsall. 6 for 96. George Kittle, 8 for 88 and a touchdown. And then Juwan Jennings, man, not a lot of volume today.
All he does is catch touchdowns.
5 targets, 3 catches for 37 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, we knew we were starting George Kittle anyway. Mm-hmm. That's a given. Juwan Jennings, though, interesting. I think I am inclined to say that he's probably a start through the rest of the fantasy playoffs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has been for me as well. But I'm a known Jennings believer. He's been, unfortunately, Pearsall start looking like he's coming on now. Does take some luster off of that. But at the same time, he's very clearly been their wide receiver 1, and Shanahan has come out and said he is our wide receiver 1. That's not nothing. If Shanahan believes in you, he's going to make sure that you see the ball in high leverage situations. And he's had, I think that's 3 straight games he's got at least a touchdown in now. I mean, Hey, great. Gotta love that, because he's not getting the high end volume, but those end zone trips, man, they help a lot.
He's got a touchdown in 4 of his last 5 games.
4 of last 5, yeah, there you go.
Yep. No, I'm sorry. He's got 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games.
4 in his last, yeah. And there we go.
6 in his last 5 games. So 6 in his last
Even
6
better.
games. Yeah. Juwan Jennings is a guy you want to fire up. Ricky Pearsall is in that territory as well as a flex for me. And George Kittle's a top-tier tight end. In this offense, when they get him going, you got to start him.
Yeah, and it's a little tougher because it's Tennessee, and it's tough to judge like how much of this is real versus what is not.
Right.
The fact that we've seen it over time, like we obviously know we know CMC is. We've seen it over time with Jennings. Pearsall, I'm questioning a little bit because that's how much of this is real, how much of this is Tennessee. And Kittle, he's been up and down a little bit, but you're still rolling him out no matter what, even though I think his performance today was it's Tennessee.
Sure. Well, and I don't necessarily disagree. They got Indy and Chicago their next 2 weeks, and it's also still George Kittle. Kittle's going to George Kittle. 8 for 88, maybe not every week, but like 4 for 60 and a touchdown or 2. I think you can almost bank on that the rest of the season.
Sure.
All right, Lou, let's move on to the final game here before we get everyone out of here and on to Sunday Night Football. The Denver Broncos defeating the Green Bay Packers 34-26 tonight. We'll start on the Green Bay side of this. Jordan Love looked not lovely, I guess. Be the best way to put it. 24-40 for 276 yards, throws a touchdown, throws 2 interceptions, one of them being very costly towards the end of the game. Josh Jacobs, though, 12 carries, 73 yards. He gets a touchdown. The receiving core continued to be confusing. It was all over the place. Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs, John Fitzpatrick, all players who saw 3 or more targets today. We also had Chris Brooks, Dontavian Wicks, and Bo Melton seeing targets from Love today. I am at a point now where I don't trust anything about this wide receiver room. Christian Watson left with a shoulder, rib, chest injury. Mm-hmm. To me, it looked like he dislocated that shoulder. We'll see. I still haven't seen anything as to what it is.
Right. Something, cracked dislocated rib, dislocated shoulder, cracked collar, something in that area. He just landed poorly and everything like that, and that's a bummer because he was the one guy I was pretty okay with rolling out there in that Packers offense, not named Josh Jacobs. I don't understand why you, as a play caller and Matt LaFleur, decide, how I'm going to beat the Denver Broncos is with Jordan Love throwing the ball 40 times in a game. Like, you've got Josh Jacobs and you only run the ball 12 times?
Yeah, I don't get it. You're not going to beat Denver that way.
No, not at all. It just doesn't make any sense at all to me. So, But that's what Green Bay does, right? They go into these games and they don't make a lick of sense, but because they've got really good players, they get away with it more often than they should.
No. All right, let's move over to the Denver side of this one. I'm pleased, Lou.
Okay.
Tell from the fact that I'm wearing a freaking Broncos jersey. I'm happy, but from a fantasy perspective, like Bo Nix today, 23 of 34 for 302 yards. He throws 4 touchdowns against a good Green Bay defense. They got it done against a good defense. RJ Harvey, 19 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton was back, 7 catches for 113 yards and a touchdown. We had Troy Franklin, 6 catches for 85 and a touchdown. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a Sean Payton win without little Jordan Humphrey getting 3 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown.
Marvin Mims showing out today. He found his way into the end zone at, what was it, like 60 some odd yards? 42 yards.
42 yards, yeah.
Little 42.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Little 42 yards. Yeah.
Little 6'4" Jordan Humphrey.
I don't understand the fascination, but, and I've been very public about my disdain for Sean Payton and his offenses, and I'm sure he feels the same about me, and I'm very comfortable with this. This is what he does, and it worked today. Franklin showed out, Sutton showed out, Harvey showed out. Great. This is what it looks like when it works well, right? Mm-hmm. And then next week, we're going to come back and talk about how Sutton had 5 catches for 40 yards and Franklin wasn't used, and RJ Harvey had 50 yards rushing on 20 carries, and it'll be teeth gnashing, and
right?
Villagers rioting.
And somehow the Broncos still beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I hope.
Oh yeah, 18-16 or something stupid, because that's how it would go.
Yeah, the guys you're starting from this Denver offense. I'd shy away from RJ Harvey still. It's still too up and down. It's still a Sean Payton offense. Cortland Sutton's a start. I think Bo Nix is a start rest of the way as well. He's playing really well. This is very similar to what we saw last season in the Joe Burrow-esque way of doing things, starting out really slow, heating up as you get towards the playoffs. And I'm fine with it.
It's what Bo Nix did last year, too.
That's what I'm saying. Bo Nix is last year, the typical Joe Burrow season, where it's
I see. Yes.
Come on slow, pick it up, play better towards the end of the season. Bo Nix, though, for your championship rosters, you're safe to fire him up as a QB2. I absolutely would, too.
Yeah, and he's probably going to live in that QB1 area now, especially we're taking Mahomes out of there. There's going to be more room there. I mean, probably, right?
That's a fair point. I think so. I had him ranked as a QB1 this week. So, I think he's definitely QB1 rest of the way. Back in QB1, but QB1
not your Drake May, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, that sort of thing, but your next 8 to 12, probably.
Yeah, I'd take it. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for us. We need to let you get off to that Sunday night football game. If you are listening to the replay of this on YouTube, or if you're listening to us on Spotify, please make sure you follow along here and like this podcast and or video that you are here watching. And make sure you head on over to news.optimusfantasy.com to get all of the up-to-date NFL fantasy relevant news on Blue Sky. Again, that is at news.optimusfantasy.com. Make sure you want to check that out. And then head on over to our Discord server. Link is in the show description. We're answering football questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Pop on over. We'll answer anything you want. We've even got some bets on there, including NBA. Yeah. As crazy as it sounds, we've got some good basketball bets. So if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure to check it out. For Lou Brunson, I'm Nate Polvogt. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow night with Keith Fleming for the Waiver Wire Show. Until then, good luck and good night.